Hello, my name is David Broussard. Welcome to the Office 365 Bootcamp. This episode will be talking about the Office 365 Administration Center and how you can manage your Office 365 environment. Let's go ahead and jump right in. What I've got here is the Office 365 Administration Center, and you can get here by going to portal.office.com and logging in with your tenant administrator account and then clicking on the Admin app from the app launcher over here. And when you click on the admin app, it will bring you to the home of the Admin Center. From here, you're able to do everything about taking care of your Office 365 account. One of the primary tasks you'll do here is taking care of users. On this screen right now, you can see that I have a card about managing users. I can go ahead and add users, delete users, edit a user, reset a password, all right from this screen. But if I need to go ahead and look at it in more depth, I can click on the Users tab and it'll take me into the active users. Once I'm in the active users area, I can go ahead and find one of my accounts, for example, my account, and I can click into here and find information about my username, what licenses have been assigned to me, what group memberships I have, my sign-in status, my display name. I can also manage my mail settings over here and my OneDrive settings over here if I need to. If I need to go ahead and change the licensing, I can actually go ahead and adjust my licensing right from here. So once I select a license, I can actually go down here and say, what license do I need to have assigned to me? And I'll go ahead and assign myself, for example, an Office 365 Enterprise 3 license. When I do that, notice it assigns everything underneath it, and I can go through and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to give me, for example, Office 365 Pro Plus. I don't want this account to be able to download and run Office 365 from here. Once I'm done with that, I can simply hit the Save button, and it will now go out and make all of the changes to that particular account. If I need to add a new user, this is the same place that I will go and add a user. Now, when I'm adding users, remember I'm adding cloud-based users. The vast majority of users that we have are actually going to be brought in from Active Directory, right? And that is part of our directory sync issues. If I go back to the home page, you'll see that I have a section over here to actually manage my directory sync status. When I set up directory sync, it'll take all of my users that I've wanted to be synchronized, it will bring them up into Office 365. I can also bring along groups if I want to, AD groups and distribution lists, and bring those into Office 365 where I can then manage them in this area. And here's where I can actually assign licenses to them and manage their Office 365 licensing. Another common task that you'll have when you're here is actually working with billing. This is where you'll go and make sure that your bills are being paid. I can click on this area and go into this and see what my bills are, my invoices that are coming into me. So as we'll wait for this page to load up for a second. Here we go. And we'll see that right now we have a certain number of subscriptions that are inside of this organization. We can see what subscriptions that we have turned on. We can see if they're active. We can see when they expire. We can renew them. We can make sure they're assigned to users. We can purchase more if we need to from here. If I go down to the licenses section, I can actually see what licenses I have, and I can even go out and buy more licenses from here if I need to. So if I were to click Buy More Licenses, it'll take me to the licensing page where I'll be able to go out and decide what licenses do I want to buy for my organization and how do I pay for them, okay? The next thing we'll take a look at is the settings that we have inside the organization. We talked in the past about how important change is inside of our organization, and one of the things we want to take a look at here is actually setting up our organizational profile. Inside the organizational profile, here's where we're going to set up our actual name of our tenant, our address, our basic contact information, but most importantly, we're going to set up our release preferences. And you can see that I have a release track that says first release for everyone, and I want all users to be on that release track. Now what I can do is change this to a standard release in which I'm only going to get updates when Microsoft releases them in that slow rank. I can also start to set up this first release for selected users. What that will allow you to do is to have the first release hit, but only certain users will actually see that. And when I go through that process, I would select the users. This enables me to actually see those changes for a certain group of people, like a QA testing group, or IT before it reaches the general availability of everybody else. Now, that might be useful to you if you want everybody to get their changes as fast as possible. I still like the idea of having 2 tenants, even though you have to buy a couple of extra licenses, because it gives you a little bit more flexibility in doing that. The next thing we'll take a look inside of here is, what about whole services? I can manage what services we actually have inside of our organization, and we can upload services from third-party locations here. For example, Microsoft recently released the Teams service, and so you can see down here that I have Microsoft Teams. When I click on this, this is where I set up all of my permissions and my management of this particular application inside of Office 365. So for example, when I look at the General tab, I can see, do I want to show the organizational chart? Do I want to use Skype for Business for recipients who don't have Microsoft Teams? Do I want to allow, I'm going to manage all of my teams inside of the Groups dashboard, and I can also go out and say, how do I want to allow for private meetings and channel meetings? Am I going to allow scheduling for that? Am I going to allow video in meetings? Am I going to allow screen sharing in meetings? I can turn all of those things on and off. I can go down to the messaging tab and say, hey, do I want to allow people to use the add-on services like Giftly inside of Teams that can actually let people share pictures and memes inside of there? And I can even manage my content rating to make sure that people are staying mostly professional inside of these particular meetings. I can decide whether I'm going to allow bots and tabs to happen inside of Microsoft Teams, and I can even allow side loading of those. And then lastly, I can say, do I want to allow people to send emails to these channels? All of the different areas inside of here, I can manage inside of this settings area. I can even go out and actually turn these things on and off. So for example, in the groups area, I can let group members outside the organization access group content. I can also let group owners add people outside the organization to groups. If I turned those off, then my groups would only be internal. In this way, I can actually use my groups as ad hoc collaboration outside of my organization. Another common setting we'll take a look at is this area called domains. Now, domains are important because when you create your tenant, and for example, this one is called catsysdemo.sharepoint.com, or catsysdemo.onmicrosoft.com, that's the default domain. I'm usually going to want to add additional domains. Each of these may be domains that my company already owns, or what I want people to log in as. I may have multiple domains in my forest. Here's where you'll add all of the domains together and use them so that people can log in using the email addresses that they're familiar with. Another very useful section in the Admin Center is the reporting section. If we go down and take a look at the reporting section, I can look at the usage reports. The usage reports give me a glimpse into how people are actually using my tenant. So when I go out to this report section, you can see that I get a nice report that lets me see how many active users I have for the different workloads. How many Exchange users, how many OneDrive users, how many SharePoint users. This being a demo tenant, you can see I don't have a lot of people, but I can go out and look on a given day. For example, on March 3rd, it tells me I had 2 Exchange users and 8 SharePoint users and nobody else using anything inside of here. I can look at this over 7 days, over 30 days, over 180 days. I can also look at my email activity, how much was sent, how much was received, how much was read. I can look at how many files are being stored out in OneDrive and the number of active users. I can look at my SharePoint files, Skype for Business activity, how many Office activations have happened, and what my Yammer activity looks like. You can see that I can actually go through a whole bunch of detailed reports around here, like activations of Office 365, email app usage, mailbox usage. If I click on that, it's going to come back and show me what is my total number and active users of mailboxes. Once again, this is giving me an idea of who's actually using my Office 365 account. Because when we have Office 365, we want people using as many workloads as possible. That's the way we're maximizing our value from Office 365. In Office 365, we have a lot of different workloads, and we manage those in the admin centers that are inside of Office 365. From here, I can get to the Exchange management area, I can get to Skype for Business, to SharePoint, to OneDrive, to Yammer, to Power Apps. Pretty much everything I need to manage, this is the specific management interface that I will go to. For example, when I go to the Exchange management area, you'll see that I can go out and maintain mailboxes and groups and resources. I can maintain my public folders, I can handle mobile access. All of the things that I would normally do for my Exchange Management Console, I'm now doing through this web interface right here. Same thing is true of Skype for Business, same thing is true for SharePoint and for OneDrive for Business. The other nice thing about Office 365 is that you can also manage this from a mobile interface. And so what I have here is I've actually loaded the Office 365 administration app on my iPhone. And from here, you notice I can get to all the messages that are out there, and I can see all the things like, hey, feature update, Microsoft Teams is now turned on by default. And I can go through and read all of that right here on the screen. In addition, I can go back to my home area. From here, I can see any health issues that are out there. Like right now, I can notice that there's a warning around Power BI and SharePoint Online. I can also go out and manage users right from here. So I can see all the users that are out there. I can go ahead and go down here and find my account. I can assign licenses. I can update aliases and user roles and mobile devices and set up automatic replies all right from this particular app. I can get to my billing, I can look at health, and I can even do one of the most important things, which is open up a support ticket. So from the support area, I can actually do one of the most important things, and that is open up a new service request or view current service requests. So by clicking on the new service request, I can actually go out here and say, Exchange is not working. And what you're going to see, of course it helps if I actually type it right, Exchange is not available. And so I can actually say, hey, Exchange is not available, and go down to the description and say stuff, because it's not really, this is actually just a, and then what it's going to do is it's going to actually go out and prompt me for, to submit this ticket. It's going to actually do a search to find out if the things in my title and inside my description are actually are in the knowledge base. As it goes out and does a search, it's going to actually ask me if this particular message can already be answered by one of the problems in the knowledge base. And if it can, it's going to actually prompt me to do so. So as you can see from here, I can go and manage a lot of things right here from the system. I can handle my resources, I can give feedback, I can manage my settings, I can manage groups, I can manage, the only thing I can't do from here is I can't get to all of the administration centers. So I can only manage the high-level Office 365 administrative areas, but that in and of itself is actually worth an awful lot, especially the ability for me to go out and see the messages that I have that are out there in the system and do the health monitoring analysis. Well, I hope this has been valuable to you, and we'll see you next time at the O365 Bootcamp. Thank you.